Megan likes honey but not jam. Alfie likes honey and jam. Chen does not like honey or jam. Donna only likes jam. Write the children's names in the correct parts of the sorting diagram. So first let's look at Megan. She likes honey, so she'll be under this column here because that's the column for likes honey. But she does not like jam, so she'll need to be in this row here. So we write Megan's name in this box because that shows that if we go up, she likes honey, and if we go to the left, she does not like jam. Now let's find where we can write Alfie. He likes honey and jam. So we can write Alfie here, because if we go up, that shows us that he likes honey, and if we go across, that shows us that he likes jam as well. Now Chen does not like honey or jam. So Chen will need to be in this column for does not like honey, and in this column for does not like jam. So we can write Chen here, because he does not like honey and does not like jam. And now Donna only likes jam. So Donna needs to be in the section or the row for likes jam, but she does not like honey, because if she only likes jam, she doesn't like anything else. So we have the children's names in the correct parts of the sorting diagram. The table shows the capacity of 3 containers. Together, the beaker and the cup hold more than the mug. How much more? Well, we can see that the beaker holds 330 millilitres and the cup holds 180. So let's find out how much the beaker and the cup hold together. So find the total of 330 and 180. We can use column addition and we get 510. So the beaker and the cup together hold 510 millilitres. But we want to know how much more 510 is than 450, because 450 millilitres is the capacity of the mug. So we need to find the difference, and we find the difference using subtraction. So to find how much more, to find the difference between 510 and 450, we can subtract, and when we use column subtraction, we get 060, so we can ignore zeros at the start of a number. We have 60 millilitres more. So 510 is 60 more than 450. Jodie has to be at the dentist at 9:30. How many minutes early is she? So 9:30 is the same as 9:30, because remember there are 60 minutes in an hour and half of 60 is 30. So that's the time that she has to be at the dentist, but this time here is the time that she arrives at. We can see that the shorthand, the hour hand, has gone past the 9, and then the minute hand is on the 3. So remember, to find the number of minutes, we multiply by 5, because we have 5, 10, so 3 times 5 is 15 minutes. So she arrives at 9:15, and she has to be there at 9:30. So that's a difference of 30 minus 15, so 15 minutes. And that means she's 15 minutes early. She'll have 15 minutes to wait until 9:30, because remember, at 9:30, the minute hand will be on the 6. 3 whole numbers add up to 50. Seb says all 3 numbers must be even numbers. Is Seb correct? Explain how you know. So we need to remember that an even number ends in 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8. So is a number that's a multiple of 2 or in the 2 times table. So here Seb is wrong. And when they're wrong, we can give an example. So if we have three whole numbers, we could have 48, 1 and 1. Now that adds up to 50, but 1 is an odd number, not an even number. So if two of the three numbers are odd numbers, then the answer will be an even number. Write these numbers in order, starting with the smallest. So we have 1/2, 1/4, 1/8 and 1/5. So all of our fractions have a numerator, a top number of 1. So we can compare these fractions by looking at the denominator. But we need to remember that the larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction, because that means the fraction bar has been split into more pieces, so each piece is smaller. So our smallest fraction is 1/8, then we have 1/5, then 1/4, and then 1/2. Because if we show the fraction bars, we can see that 1/2 is more than 1/8, or more than 1/5 and 1/4 as well. Because if the denominator is 2, that means it's only been split into two pieces, so each piece is larger. But 1/8 is our smallest fraction, because if the bar has been split into 8 pieces, and we only have one piece, that piece will be smaller. So that's why the larger the denominator is, the smaller the fraction will be, at least if the numerator is the same. Write these numbers in order. So we have 164, 146, 106, 160 and 140. So what we can do is write the numbers out one below the other with our hundreds, tens and ones lined up. Now to compare numbers, we start by comparing the digit in the largest place value, so here our hundreds. But all of these numbers have 1 as the hundreds digit, so we can look across to the tens. We have 6, 4, 0, 6, 4. So this number with 0 in the tens will be our smallest number. And then we can see that this number has a 4 in the tens, and so does this number. So one of these numbers with only 4 tens will be next smallest. To see which, let's look at the ones. Here we have 0, but here we have 6. So this number with 0 will be next smallest, and then this number with 6 ones. So then our two remaining numbers all have 1 in the hundreds and 6 in the tens. But if we look across to the ones, here we have 4 and here we have 0. So that means 160 is next, and then our largest number is 164. Ben had 92 cards. Sam gave him 10 more. Flo gave him 100 more. How many cards does Ben have now? So he started with 92, and Sam gave him 10 more, so we can work out 92 plus 10 to find out how many cards he had after Sam had given him 10. And 92 plus 10 is 102. That's because 9 plus 1 is 10, and then the 2 stays the same because we're not adding any ones, so we have 2 ones in our answer. But then Flo gave him 100 more. So after Sam gave him 10 more, he had 102, so we need to work out 100 more. So 100 more than 102 is 102 plus 100. And that's 202, because all we're adding is 1 in our hundreds. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and then the 0, 2 in our tens and ones stays the same because we're not adding any tens or ones. So that means Ben has 202 cards now. Karen is thinking of a number. She says, if I double my number, my answer is 16. What number is Karen thinking of? So remember, double means times 2. So if you take Karen's number and double or multiply by 2, the answer is 16. So what times 2 is 16? Well, 16 divided by 2 is 8. So that means that 8 times 2 is 16. So Karen's number is 8. Because if she doubles 8, if she multiplies 8 by 2, her answer will be 16. Tim buys a 19p postcard. He pays exactly 19p with 5 coins. What could the 5 coins be? So the largest coin we have that's less than 19p is the 10p coin. So we can start with that. But if we have another 10p coin, that would take us to 20p, and that would be too many because the postcard only costs 19p. So the next smallest coin after 10p is the 5p coin. So if he has 10p and then 5p, that's 15p altogether. Now another 5p coin would be too many because 10 plus 5 plus 5 would be 20. So let's try a 2p coin. 10 plus 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17. So now what could the other coins be? Well, another 2p coin would take him to 19p, but we know that he uses 5 coins and we can't have a 0p coin. So that means these 2 coins here must each be 1p. 10 plus 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 1 is 18, plus another 1 is 19. So that's the 19p that he pays for his postcard. 2 of these numbers round to 80. Circle the 2 numbers. So if a number rounds to 80, that must mean that we're rounding to the nearest 10, because we have a 0 in our ones. And to round to the nearest 10, we find our tens digit and look at our ones digit. Now remember, if it's 4 or less, we round down. So this 4 tells us that we're rounding down, so the 7 in our tens stays the same. So 74 rounds to 70, not to 80, so that's not one of our numbers. But if we look at 82, we find our tens and look at our ones. If it's 4 or less, we round down, and we have a 2, so we're rounding down. That means the 8 stays the same, so 82 does round to 80. And now 77. So if it's 5 or more, we round up. So that means this 7 in our tens is going to become an 8. So that rounds to 80 as well, because we're rounding up. And now 85. Remember, if it's 5 or more, we round up, and that means the 8 would become a 9. So 85 would round to 90, not to 80. So our 2 numbers are 82 and 77. Notice 82 is closer to 80 than it is to 90, and 77 is closer to 80 than to 70, so that's why both of these numbers round to 80. Circle the number closest to 500. First we have 525, so that's 25 more than 500. Now 491 is 9 less. If we add 9 to 491, that will give us 500. Or we could work out that 500 minus 491 is 9. 511 is 11 more. 408 is 92 less, because 8 and 92 make a number bond to 100, and if we have another 100, that would give us 5 hundreds altogether. Or we could work out that 500 minus 408 is 92. And finally, 550 is 50 more than 500. So we need to circle the number closest. So that will be 491, because that's only 9 less than 500. And all of our other numbers are more than 9 less or more. So remember, the closest number could be a number that's smaller or a number that's larger. But 491 is the number with the smallest difference, so that's why it's the closest number to 500. In the circle, write plus, minus, multiply or divide to make the calculation correct. So first we have 8 times 5, so that's 40, and then we have plus, minus, multiply or divide by 10 to give an answer of 4. Now 40 divided by 10 is 4, because 4 times 10 is 40, so we need to write a division sign in this circle here. Write the missing number. 80 plus 70 equals 190 minus what? So we need to remember here that both sides of the equal sign need to be the same, need to be numbers of the same value. So on this side we have 80 plus 70. That's 150, because 8 plus 7 is 15, but here we're adding multiples of 10, so our answer needs to be a multiple of 10, a number with a 0 on the end as well. So 150 is the same as 190 minus what? So here the question is really asking, what do we need to subtract from 190 to make 150? Well, 190 minus 40 is 150, because 19 minus 4 is 15, and again we're subtracting multiples of 10, so 190 minus 40 is 150. So here, because we have 150 on both sides of our equal sign, we have our missing number. Write the missing number in the sequence. So if we look at the numbers they've given us, we have 300, then 350. So we can see that in this sequence we must be adding 50 each time. So 350 plus 50 is 400. So to find this box here, we need to work out 400 plus 50, so that's 450. And then for this box here, we need to think what plus 50 is 300. Well, because it's a missing number addition, because we're working backwards, what we can do is subtract 50 from 300, and 300 minus 50 is 250. That's because 30 minus 5 is 25, but we're subtracting multiples of 10, so we need a 0 on the end. And then we can check 250 plus 50 is 300. The time is 8:15. John has to be ready for school in half an hour. Tick the time when he has to be ready. So half an hour is the same as 30 minutes. That's because 1 hour is 60 minutes and half of 60 is 30. So the time is 8:15, and we want to know the time 30 minutes or half an hour from now, because that's when John has to be ready. So we need 8:15 plus 30 minutes, and 15 plus 30 is 45. So that means he will need to be ready by 8:45. Ben goes to bed at 7:15 p.m. Grace goes to bed an hour later. What time does Grace go to bed? Give your answer using 24-hour clock. So if Ben goes to bed at 7:15, 1 hour later than that will be 8:15. But PM means in the evening, and we need to give our answer using 24-hour clock. So the way to change times in the afternoon or evening, so to change PM times into 24-hour clock times, is to add 12 to the number of hours. And 8 plus 12 is 20. So rather than writing 8, we can write 20, and then the number of minutes will stay the same. But with 24-hour clock, we don't need to write PM or AM on the end. So our answer is just 2015.